which is a huge problem in Vancouver. We want more research looking at the problems that are arising around why there's no low barrier services for youth, why ministries won't fund low barrier services for youth, and what are the barriers to folks structurally and administratively housing youth. Acknowledging that a lot of people want to move forward and do things, but there's just way too many barriers in place to actually open any youth relevant harm reduction low barrier services. So I thought it was a really good one. Focus as well as focusing on transitional housing and long-term housing. The second research topic was how can we unpack the degree of people who are currently medicating for underlying mental health issues like bipolar affective disorder, ADHD, borderline personality disorder, who don't get traditional treatment for Axis 1 type issues, however, are actually dealing with all sorts of mental health issues by using drugs. And what is the scale of that number of folks, and what kind of programs like the one Wendy was presenting in Ottawa that would be useful here in Vancouver. And then women's specific issues, there was a question as to why when we do services for women, do they tend to be just high barrier types of services rather than low barrier services, because we've got some sort of deserving, undeserving paradigm when it comes to dealing with women's issues. They always have to be traditional abstinence-based or treatment-focused women's only services rather than low barrier engagement models. And then that raised the issue of what is treatment and how come we still have this obsession around deserving, undeserving, when from our perspective anyway, the entire thing is treatment, whether it's bringing people in off the street, giving people housing, or giving them access to a clean needle, it's all treatment. So could we do some sort of research into different opinions about treatment, success rates of various treatment models, and really start to unpack the word treatment so that we can sort of reclaim the use of the word treatment to incorporate low barrier as well as higher threshold programs. I think that's where we ended up. Hang on. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, group one, I guess. And one other thing I'll just say, and Matt, I'll get Matt up here as well, is that keep your notes and maybe hand them in. So if they're a bit complicated, then I can type them up and try and make sense of them. So, because maybe it's hard to summarize everything in one word, you know. Matt?
Yeah. So if people who don't know me by now, and I'm Matthew Lee, starting with M-A-A, 2 T's, H-L-E-W, hyphen M-A-H-L-E-E. And you all understand that. I just want to say of the fourth pillar that has been a hidden agenda, that it has come to the point that of full rehab, it has been a silent agenda, and I will slowly, if you can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, I'll tell it very, very slowly for the layman out there, that it has to be on the top of the top seat in every area. And I don't have a PhD, but just a simpleton idea that now that we gotta realize and be not with our tails behind our backs and be the man that he has called us to be. Thank you.
Can we hear from Stephen's table? You can come up or stand, whichever.
I think I'll just talk loud, how's that? I'll just highlight two things that we discussed. So there was interest around the information that Anita Haliku presented about measuring the effectiveness of different levels of housing options, and specifically around whether not-for-profit SROs versus for-profit SROs make a difference or have different results, and what housing provides the best stability to what demographic. So that, I think, was something that could be pursued, that I think there's interest in. So just speaking for myself, I had a very interesting discussion with people at the table where I guess I was very interested in learning about how BC Housing is providing subsidized housing units across the province, and just to what extent does BC Housing have already collect data that essentially could be a measure of to what extent is this strategy, our current strategy, successful or not? And I guess my question that I raised was, while there may be data on the amount of service being delivered, it's probably harder to get data on the number of people who need the service but are or are not getting it. So we might know what we're doing, but we don't know what proportion of people who need that help are getting it or are not getting that service. So I guess a lot of opportunity, I think, for using existing data that BC Housing is collecting.
Great. Great, so this table in the back.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maya Tuzmaki, and I'm from the Vancouver Women's Health Collective. I'd like to take a moment to ask any of you in the room if you're familiar with our organization. Okay, case in point. So this is one of the major themes of our discussion today, was talking about the sort of disintegration within the services offered in the downtown east side, where we're not really aware of what each service has to offer or what we're doing. So one potential research question that we'd like to pose to the researchers here today would be looking at ways that we can create some sort of system of knowledge translation wherein we can communicate effectively with one another and build our capacity as a community and as service providers. Secondly, we sort of wanted to look a little bit more at the feasibility of doing more client-based treatment, detox, and sort of prevention services. Specifically, we're interested in looking at alternative models of detox that better account for client needs. So that's another potential research question for any out there. And then lastly, we just wanted to sort of talk a little bit more about the potential of trying to better integrate services to ensure that we're addressing all client needs as opposed to just a certain number of needs. So the example that we used at Colorado was the existence of on-site within the in-site facility where it allows for detox for those who choose it. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll go back into the back center. Yeah.
Okay, so we sort of touched upon two points that we thought were sort of important. Tessa and myself do home support at the Portland building, and so therefore services like home support, we're wondering if those kinds of services sort of affect the quality of life of residents living in the downtown east side. We know, of course, that it does make a big positive impact, but perhaps more research into those sorts of services that help with more funding and stuff, because we know that it's quite an underfunded aspect of the PHS. You're also talking about benefits of group activities such as art, music, outings, taking residents out of the downtown east side, and how those benefit people's quality of life as well. Yeah, so those are
Those are great, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
And Dawn's table in the back?
Just one note that we touched upon was the future research was looking into maybe the best practices of the housing providers in the downtown east side, so more along the continuum, so seeing what buildings are having the highest rate of maybe succession moving on to better housing versus what buildings aren't, or maybe not that, but seeing, how people can move from one type of vulnerable housing onto better housing.
So what's the secret sauce kind of question?
Yeah,
There
it's
you
the
go.
secret sauce.
That's great, thank you. And Ms. this table just in front of them? Great.
My name's Daniel. Some of these issues I kind of feel like I'm going my own horn here, but hopefully you'll think that I'm not. What's missing from the research, our group kind of had a consensus, was different ways of telling stories about